porn's entertainment, you know, it's actors, we're acting, it's not real life. I think I'm a good person. I know what I'm doing is not illegal or wrong in any way. It's when people judge me for having kids that kind of grinds my gears a little bit. Even being in the sex industry myself, I'm learning things every day. I would walk in days and there would just be orgies and people everywhere. I'm sure they've talked about me behind my back and stuff. We're just there for the money, like it is a job at the end of the day.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm thrilled to meet you. It's not, my day is, I'd never want to compare myself to the work you do. And I don't think I could come close.
Okay.
And it's not quite the day that you described the juxtaposition of shooting in the morning in Los Angeles and then going to Disneyland in the afternoon with your family.
Done it all, baby.
But like, I've literally just come from teaching my son. I volunteer to teach my son's class ethics.
Okay.
So
Love that.
just 45 minutes ago left a room full of grade 1 and grade 2 kids talking about why it's important that we understand the reasons and other people's reasons.
Yes.
And now I'm here
non-judgmental.
with you.
Hey,
And it's
here I
brilliant.
am.
It's brilliant. How do you feel having this out in the world?
It's crazy. Like it's been such a process. So now that it's finally here
Yeah.
is awesome. Like just having a spot that has all my thoughts and feelings, because as you know, like ADHD, sometimes your brain is just scrambled and you have like a million thoughts in your head. So I just wanted somewhere that I had everything where I could just sit down and be like, just start from the start, go right through. So yeah.
It can be, having written a memoir myself, I found parts of the process to be very similar to therapy, but not.
Yes.
But not only in that it allowed me to reflect on something out of the moment.
Totally.
Because I was viewing it through a different lens.
Yeah, I felt the same.
What kind of things did you discover that, I feel differently about, I can move past that now?
I guess it was stuff like in my early days, relationships that I had that like I never really reflected on before. And it wasn't until I really sit down and like went through everything and through like my mental health struggles like throughout my life and was like, well, maybe those could have been connected to those issues early on. Yeah. And so I didn't actually make that connection until I started like writing it down. Yeah. And I'm like, hang on, this happened right after this happened. And it just made so much sense. I was like, oh my God. And then to go through and like read the audiobook as well, it just like solidified it for me. Yeah.
My wife produced my audiobook.
Really?
Yeah, which I'm really grateful
that's
for.
Good. At least you would have been comfortable, you know.
It was, but I did find, because she was there and I did it at home, I found myself in tears quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because you know, I'm telling this stuff, she knows it.
Yeah.
But, it's one thing to write it down and have it with a cohort of people that you've met at the publishing office and they go, yeah, we're going to take care of your story and,
Yeah.
But knowing that, okay, this is now out.
Yeah.
Forever.
I know, it's a scary thing. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because like, especially I've never told like a lot about my past or my upbringing or things like, usually I talk about the now, like the sex work, everything. So I really dive deep into the before, the industry stuff. And it was very, it was very nerve-wracking, like putting that stuff out there.
Thanks for writing about your childhood. I don't know, I love New Zealand. I've been there a number of times.
Lovely.
Members of my family from New Zealand. But it was lovely to hear you describe, how you grew up and where you grew up, and that puts a lot of things in context. But I'm wondering if it was there that you first kind of discovered about the work you do now. And I want to explain. When I worked in Amsterdam, I worked at a business school there, and this business school was across the canal from the red light district.
Okay.
So the people that I worked with who lived just around the corner, and they would, as you do when you're Dutch, ride their kids on the bike, in the cargo bike, they're in the thing on the front. They'd ride their kids on the bike to school, and they'd be riding past these windows where the women are standing at if you've never been there, there's women standing in the windows like a shop front, and this place has existed for, it's a city built on,
sounds like so dystopian.
But it's from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
This is a city of sailors, right?
Yeah.
This is, what do sailors do when they're in port? And I asked her, like, how do you describe to the kids because this is at 7 a.m. There's women standing there.
Sure.
So how do you describe to the kids what's going on there? And she just very matter-of-factly, because they're Dutch. She's like, the Albert Heijn is where we get that's got food for sale. The bookshop is with the books for sale. Those ladies, they have hugs and kisses for sale.
It's just a job, right?
Yeah, and her kids were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is just so far from what I learned
Yeah.
growing up in conservative Brisbane
Definitely.
at the all boys private school I went to. That was definitely not how we described that kind of work. So I'm interested as to when you first discovered what this kind of work was.
I mean, I think I was always very much interested in sex work, but I guess just being in the small town I grew up in, like I wasn't really exposed to it. But it was I guess I'd moved to Auckland and I had seen a strip club there, and that was like the first strip club that I saw. And I was like, okay, like I could dabble into it a bit. But it wasn't until I moved to Australia, and that's when I saw like, you know, OnlyFans became a thing and people were starting to make money online, and I found that powerful. So I was just like, I found that empowering, sorry. So yeah, that's when I dove deep.
But did you ever ask questions to your parents? Remember having a conversation with your folks about it?
No, it wasn't really talked about in my household.
No?
Like, as you say, like coming from, I guess, more of a small town vibe, like it just wasn't something that was talked about. If anything, like sex work was kind of a shameful thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't talked about in my household, but I was still like a very curious kid and I was still very interested in sex work.
Your story reminds me, and the way that you handle yourself, it reminds me a bit of the Spice Girls. And let me tell you how. Because the Spice Girls, as wonderful as they are, it's not about the songs, okay? There's maybe 2 or 3 that are absolute bangers.
Yeah.
But it was more about these 5 women who really were the first really to take agency. They found the songwriter. They fought the record company with the first single. They were the ones that drove that whole thing. And then very publicly were like, this is what we are. We are here. We're taking up this space. We're owning this. And people were like, I'm here for this vibe.
Yeah.
How powerfully they were taking that. And that is what people got around. To Become One is a good song, but it's not like they're not ABBA, you know.
No,
it's more the vibe of what it was. But
they blew up. That was very my generation.
When I think about you and how open you are, not only about the work you do, but also your family and how that interrelates.
Sure.
What would you say to people about the value of so powerfully owning your story in a public way?
I think it's an incredible thing that I have the opportunity to be able to show my story online and, you know, show a side of sex workers and show that they are real people and try and destigmatize it a bit.
Is there something like, yes, I'm a mum and I do this, and
it
takes the power out of it?
I just treat it like a job, really. Like, you know, when I'm doing work is left at work, and then when I'm at home, like that's home time with family. You know, it's just kind of become my norm in a way.
Because the shame thing, you write about that in the book. The shame thing is somewhat ingrained in us in ways. It's in jokes. It's in, you know, a line in a movie. It's in a TV show. We kind of bring it in. How did you navigate that?
I guess it was just something that came naturally once I started, because obviously when I first started the work, there was a lot of judgment. But I think just me being ADHD and me wanting to do the work, I was like, nothing was going to get in my way, you know. I was just diving right in and putting in my all, hyper-focusing. And yeah, I was really proud of it. And I think now, like, I have a platform where there's a lot of women that follow me and I can talk about sex work in a normal way, you know, talk about women's health and, you know, they might learn a thing or two from me and yeah, it's good.
Like people who loved what the Spice Girls were about, like there's people who probably have never seen a frame of your video work.
Yes.
But because you are who you are and because you communicate the way you do, they feel some sort of, I don't know, connection to you. Have you found that?
Definitely. I think it's because I just like try and, you know, show the good, bad and ugly online. Like even if something's embarrassing, I'll just throw it out there because, you know, I just want to show the full picture. Like I don't want to sugarcoat it. I talk about like the harder sides of the industry and just my experience throughout it. And I think people are just curious, you know, it's a very like unusual lifestyle. So yeah, I think they just want to dive in and watch it and see what I do.
Why do you want to talk about it? What is it that you get out of being so open?
I think it just comes naturally because like I'm already doing the work, and especially because I had a bigger platform like before I made the TikTok. Like I was doing quite well on OnlyFans. I was like traveling the world for that. But I guess my content was a bit different back then. I was doing more like the thirst trap content. And so it wasn't really until I started like in-person work that I started the TikTok, and it was more just to vent about my day. You know, I was seeing like 6 or 7 clients in a hotel room, and sometimes that gets a bit lonely. So I was just, expressing my thoughts and feelings. I didn't think it was going to blow up the way it did, but like I was just venting, I guess.
I'm never going to see 6 or 7 clients as a sex worker in a day.
Yeah.
But I know what it's like to not have enough towels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big issue. I know. I'm constantly trying to find towels.
I can relate.
How can you relate?
I can relate to that. I can relate to not having enough towels in a hotel room.
Okay.
You know, when I'm away from home, I train. They don't have, like, come on, guys.
Yes, I know. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Bring in more towels, please.
I can relate to, like, I'm going to have to make up a story, because how else am I going to get them to bring 4 more towels up here?
Yeah. Well, that's why I always try and find like a service apartment, because they have a washer and a dryer, and I can just wash and dry the towels.
What was it like to write about the relationship you have with the father of your children?
Yeah, it was good to like show a sort of side that I don't usually show on TikTok, because that's something that I don't like talking about. I like keeping my private life really private. So, I mean, it was good just opening up and telling my side of the story. I feel like a lot of people will have like assumptions on our relationship. So I just really wanted to get out like how we are. It's a very interesting relationship because we co-parent our kids and we're not together, but like I've known him since I was like 20, and we have been married, separated, and had kids throughout all of that. Like we've always been really close. So yeah, it was just showing that side of our relationship, which not a lot of people usually see.
What do you think you want people to know about co-parenting and trying to keep a good relationship with the other parent of your kids?
Yeah, I guess just, putting the kids first, and that's what we always ever wanted. Like we were like, even if it doesn't work out, we just want to put the kids first and make sure they're happy. And yeah, it's worked out for us.
Because it's not like he was in the dark about.
Oh no, he was very supportive of the work I do. Yeah. He's a very I guess you would say like the most feminist man I know. I don't know, but he was always like super supportive, and like he would even help me, like, because some of the tech side of stuff, I'm like, I just can't be bothered with that. So he really helped me like set up an OnlyFans and stuff.
A long time ago, I used to go to this. I like to play poker, and I would play poker at this person's house. They're quite a famous person in Australia, and so it was their wife. People know who they are, and I would go there, and we got talking about a person that we all knew was married, and that we had all seen a few days before out at this thing with someone who was definitely not the person they were married to.
Okay.
In a way that, wow, they're really in public. And I was, reacting from the internal thing of, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
And his wife stopped me, and she said, unless you're there at 2 a.m. hearing what they whisper across the pillow, you don't know what's okay in their relationship.
Aww,
and it was one of the most
good way to think about it.
Yeah, it's one of the most important things that I ever learned about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What would you say to people about judging, or how they may judge another's relationship or the way their family works?
I guess people, like everyone has their own boundaries and, expectations of a relationship. You don't know what people are going through, so definitely don't judge, because it's most certainly usually not like the picture you're thinking of. Yeah.
But judging's so easy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I could just
I get judgment all the time online. It's fine. It's great.
You describe that.
Just got to smile through it.
You describe that in great detail, and particularly in the context of how you open up about your struggles with an eating disorder.
Mm.
How do you steel yourself against some of the things that people write to you?
I guess because I've been on social media now for a while, and I feel like it's just something that you kind of learn to ignore. And, I think I'm a good person. I know what I'm doing is not illegal or wrong in any way. So it doesn't really get to me. I think if it's when people judge me for having kids that kind of grinds my gears a little bit, like especially when it first sort of came out, because you know, there was so long on the internet that I didn't tell anyone that I had kids. So I think that was a little bit frustrating to hear people talking about that and just making up assumptions and, you know, just making the wildest claims online that weren't even true. But all you can do is speak your truth and, you know, just got to run with it. I feel like when you're on social media, it's just kind of, you know, it is what it is. Like people are gonna not like you for it, you know? There's going to be people that aren't going to like you, so you got to be okay with that.
I mean, I understand I don't want to speak about you like this, but from a branding perspective, to not have your kids in the public eye, there's a reason. But it's also for safety, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. It's like sex work 101 is like not to talk about your private life because you'll have clients that, you know, get a little bit obsessed. And then maybe you told a detail 3 years ago and they remember that detail and all of a sudden they know where you live and they start stalking you. You know what I mean? So it's just a rule of thumb for sex workers not to discuss your private lives. And even like I've had my address leaked and stuff because of it. And, you know, people are wild.
What do you think's going on for people who are doing things like that, who are trying to, you know, leak your address or stuff like that? How do you try to think about them?
I try not to think about them, actually. I try to just, you know, ignore them, I guess.
Yeah.
Like there's only so much you can do, you know, being online. As long as you just got to try and look after yourself and keep as safe as possible.
The book is confronting to read. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
Is confronting.
Because it's very not confronting for me, but I guess, like, that's my life, so I don't know.
Well, the way I was looking at it, I've been sober for 16 years, 2 months and something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just alcohol, okay?
Okay.
You know,
No,
it was some kind of, you know, there was a point in time where, like, it was everything going on all at once. Day drinking, porn, you fucking name it. Like abstinence is good for me for these things because it can really fuck you up if you can get far down that rabbit hole.
Definitely.
So it's important for me that I don't go near that kind of business.
Yeah.
What was confronting for me about this was it's a supply and demand thing. And the demand from men for the kind of content that is stuff that is just full on, man. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts around what's happening with, you know, male sexuality, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky slope because I feel like it's one of those things where there's just so much porn out there. And, you know, once you've seen it all, it's like, well, what are you moving on to for the next thing? You know, that's when it becomes a bit dangerous. Like people will want more extreme content. And I found that when like I made a very extreme video one time with another creator, wasn't my best, but that was like one of my most popular videos because it was just that extreme content. I feel like people are just constantly looking for the next thing, which is scary in a way.
I don't know. Is it because like we think because it happened on a screen, well, it must be all fake?
Yeah, I mean, porn's entertainment, you know, it's actors, we're acting, it's not real life. And that's what I always say, like have open conversations with your kids because they're going to see that content whether you like it or not. Like it's just reality. So you're better off having those conversations with them and saying, hey, look, this isn't real. This isn't how people behave like when they're intimate with each other. So yeah, just be very careful with it.
You can't pretend it's not happening.
No, you can't. It's just the reality of the world. If anything, it's getting more easy to access that content, really.
Because reading your book and the way you describe that video, particularly that person that you work with in that moment and the demand for that from your own fan base, it kind of really struck me like this is the part of the conversation about the manosphere thing that we're just not having. We're not prepared to have that. We can go, oh, it's that guy on YouTube and that bloke on Instagram and they're bad.
Yeah.
But we're not addressing this whole other thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that just scrapes the surface of what's beneath, you know. I feel like the internet's a scary place. I feel like people are just, the more isolated people are, the more they try and consume that content. And especially if they're younger and they don't know any better and they're just fed all this content, like red pill content and stuff, it's easy to get trapped in that.
How do you think the porn is affecting the way that people's actual, you know, in real life sexual encounters are going?
I think it could, like, especially if, you know, there's like a porn addiction involved. Like some people can get addicted to it, and that's never healthy. But I think it would never like take over real intimacy. Like I think physical intimacy is so important, and just as humans we crave that. So I feel like that will always be the upper dog. Yeah.
I certainly hope so. There's a friend of mine, she's in her late 20s, and we were talking about this the other day, and she was saying, yeah, man, the guys that she dates, she said, I think they've just clearly watched too much porn, because it's like the only part of their body that touches me is their penis.
Yeah.
Because they're just doing what they've seen.
Yeah.
Which is designed so a camera can see it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not actually the kind of touchy, kissy, holdy, whispery stuff.
I would hope that, it's like a scale, like when it dips too far down, like it will eventually come back up and people will crave more of the physical intimacy.
Which is something that people will see a sex worker for, that even if it's not any kind of penetrative sex.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about that? Because in our country, we're seeing we have the National Disability Insurance Scheme, and there was some brouhaha that sex work, in some very isolated, very sanctioned cases, sex workers were being hired to help out with people who had significant disability.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you want people to know about people with people with significant disability and just touch as a therapeutic thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're all human. We all crave that kind of connection, that physical intimacy, the social connection. I think for a lot of men, like a small part of it is just the sex. Like I'll have a client, that I see every week, and it's like we spend 50 minutes just talking, and then it's like 5 minutes of sex. Like it's a very small part of it. Even anxious people, they would rather seek out something that they know what's going to happen in the interaction. There's no anxious dating or anything, so they would rather just seek a sex worker out.
When people, kind of see whatever's going on their phone or whatever, what do you think the biggest misconception people have about what that's actually like?
I would say that a lot of people think like sex workers would be really like into the man, or like really wanting to like grab that man and like eat him up pretty much. But I would say we're just there for the money. Like it is a job at the end of the day. Like I have no connection anymore. Like I do have connection with clients who are regular clients and I see all the time. There is that connection, but for the most part, it's just a job at the end of the day.
I like this job because I enjoy connecting with people.
Yes.
In this situation, I enjoy before you got here, I was connecting with the crew who were in the room and, asking them about their lives. We were talking about rugby league. It was great.
Great.
I mean, I enjoy, connecting with another person and finding out about their life and, this is the thing. What is the parts of it that you do enjoy?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like I'm a very social person, so connecting with people, I get to meet so many different people every day and get to meet other sex workers. And I feel like there are people that, I don't know, we just have the same sort of brain in a lot of ways. So we just gel really closely.
You wrote about, what's the word? The shadow of doom or something. There's a really decent words around that there's just no money for the bills early on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in this situation, I'm going to have to make a call here. And how that kind of drove your work ethic early. What do you say drives your work ethic now?
I would say my kids, just setting them up and, making sure that I have time to spend with them. I think that was my biggest thing, like especially when I first started in the industry. Like I just wanted time to spend with my kids, And I think with my brain, my ADHD brain, I struggle with like the conventional job, like the 9 to 5. So I really needed something that was going to suit my hours. If I feel like seeing 5 clients tomorrow, I can. If I don't feel like it the next day, like I don't have to. Like, if I want to work late, I can. So it just I just work with my brain really.
What was it that led you to get diagnosed?
It was my daughter. Yeah, she got diagnosed a couple years ago, and when the therapist was asking her all the questions, I was like, yep, that's me. It's
a classic. That's often how it happens. Yeah. That's often how it happens.
Yeah. And so, I guess like it just made so much sense, like especially things in my childhood, growing up, I was like, I always wondered like why I was, a bit different. And then it was just like putting the puzzle pieces together.
You wrote about it, and I've experienced something similar. I've got so many things ending disorder, mate. Like when I do keynotes, the slide's got 5 things on it. I'm like, I'm not going to make it any bigger. Like there's a lot of fucking shit that people think is disordered.
Yeah.
But it's the reason that I have the career that I have.
Yes.
Right? It's the reason that I've got this brain. It's giving me this life.
That's
I just have to look after myself, and it'll keep giving me the things that I can utilize. I just have to stay healthy and do what my doctors tell me, as you wrote, take my meds.
That's right.
Because I know if I don't, I know how it can all unravel.
Yes.
Having the diagnosis doesn't change anything.
No.
What does it do for you?
I mean, it just gives me a bit of understanding. But I feel like I'm the same if it wasn't for my ADHD, I probably wouldn't be where I am today, because I can do that hyper focus and really like lock into like if I want something, I want it, and I like make it my identity in a way, But yeah, the medications, I'm still finding what works for me, because, I'll have bad days and I'll have good days on the medication. So it's just finding that balance. I'm still early on and like trialing different medications out. It takes
a while.
It does take a while.
That's the thing. It's not like, I take a Panadol, 20 minutes later, things better. It's like, I don't know, we'll know in about 6 months. Oh, okay.
I know. And like, I was on the Vyvanse and I was like, oh, this is working for me. And then I felt like it was just, I couldn't be as creative on it. And I felt like I was just having brain block and, so I felt like it was taking my personality away a little bit. So I had to stop that. And then I started on, I don't know, we don't have to talk about medications, but
I guess
it takes a while to find your right one.
No, it does. And you just kind of have to stick with it and understand that I know what it's like if I'm not treating this and I'm not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly it'll fall apart. So I'm going to have to go in the direction of. How did things change for you once you started to take responsibility for what was going on in your brain?
I guess I was just being more organized, and I found that I was just, not forgetting things as much and like putting things away where they should. And it was just like the connectors in the brain were just working like they should. And I was just like, oh, wow, this is how people function day to day. Like I've never experienced this before.
When I hear about kids like your daughter getting diagnosed at that age, I'm like, oh, thank fuck.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because now that kid's going to grow up
and
with these strategies their whole life.
Yeah.
And not be me in my late 40s trying to figure out, what do I do now?
That's right. Yeah. It was never talked about when I was a kid, ADHD, especially because in a lot of girls as well, like I'm inattentive ADHD. So it was very much like, I was more quieter in the classroom. They would worry about the kids that were acting out more and more hyper ADHD. So I guess it was so easy to slip under the radar.
Yeah.
And I could see that with my daughter, her struggling with a few things. And I was like, I feel like we need to get that checked out. And yeah, I'm so happy that she has that support now.
I had to do this, and I'm wondering if you did. Did you have to like set a bit of time away just to kind of grieve for all the shit that kid that you went through?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was more just like a relief of being like, oh, wow, this is like, there's not something wrong with me. Like, this is the reason why I acted like this growing up, or, it just fits so perfectly. I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
There's a mate of mine who got diagnosed when he was still in primary school. And he's 6'4".
Wow.
And he says...
Is he a basketball player?
No, he's a plumber. So... Which is important, because he goes, for me, it's all about the mindset. Like, I was born this way. There's things that I'm really good at. If you need something from the top shelf, I can get it for you.
Yeah.
Way easier than other people, right?
Yeah.
If you need something that's underneath the piano, I might not be your guy.
That's true.
Because it's really hard for me to get all the way down there.
Yeah.
This is the guy that's spent his life underneath sinks. But, and I thought that was a really cool way to have it told to him when he was so little. This is a really, even though it's got the word disorder in it. Yeah. It doesn't really need to be.
I think it's like a superpower in a way,
But you got to look after it. You can't just.
Oh, no. I think before, when I wasn't diagnosed, I think of all the appointments and stuff that I missed. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I function day to day?
Yeah. There's nothing that grinds. You talk about things that grind your gears. I get a bit annoyed, but people go, I'm sorry I was just so rude to you just now. I'm ADHD. No,
Oh, yeah, we
you're rude
can't-
because you're rude.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's not, the ADHD is not to blame for that.
No, you can take responsibility.
You can be a nice person and still be ADHD.
You can take responsibility and apologise for things just as well as anybody else. In fact, it's probably better because you now, It's,
So true. Yeah, no, I don't like the excuses. It's like, if you're a rude person, change it. Like, don't blame the disorder for that.
What would you say has been the most effective thing outside of medication? What would you say has been the most effective thing for you in handling, your brain as far as managing what is obviously a very complicated career?
Look, I've never been one to plan anything, and I've always taken things day by day. So I don't think I'm the best person to answer that because I rely on the medication and that's about it.
You showed up here on time.
But I mean, it somehow has always worked and always fallen into place. So, if it's not broke, don't change it.
Oh, wow, that's lucky because it always worked for us. And then our second kid came along and then it all fell apart because my ability to, I was at my limit.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah, 2 for me is definitely the limit.
Oh, man, it's hard as shit. There's something that I find interesting about, we touched on it briefly, but like the fossil fuel industry has done a very, very good job of this. Gambling, really good job of this. Is like, no, you need to do this responsibly. You're the reason that you are losing all this money. Like, it's not the provider that is the morally,
Oh, definitely.
poor person. It is the end user. But with sex work, it's the opposite. Like, people may hear about how much somebody in your position would earn every month and go, hang on, she earns what? It's like, yeah, because there's a way smaller amount of people than you think there is willing to pay way more money than you believe weekly. Like, we don't talk about those guys.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think because it's still so destigmatized. I feel like people just want someone to blame, I guess, in a way. But I think if we adapt and, it's becoming so normalized now. And like you said at the start with the women in the window and the kids it's normal. I think the more we normalize it, the more we'll be okay with it, I guess.
I'm very lucky to live in a lovely part of the city, and we have a place that offers massage until very late at night.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
the kind of massage place that you can't actually see inside. People may be like, oh, I can't believe that's in my suburb. It's like, well, they're here.
I think it's more common than you think.
There's an
people
economic
just don't know about it.
It's
right?
show business, not show friends. Like, they're here because there's a reason, because they're in walking distance of people who are willing to keep that place open.
Even being in the sex industry myself, I'm learning things every day. Even the guys that message me, they'll constantly message all the lingo, the sex work lingo. And sometimes I have to look them up, in the dictionary, because I don't even know what they're talking about. And, that's coming from a sex worker. But, yeah, I'm always learning something.
We talked about porn addiction a little bit, and, to talk about wealth. There's a part of the book where you talk about what it sounds like is some kind of addiction meeting unending wealth.
Yes.
And you describe a party that happens on an island in the Mediterranean, and it sounds there's private jets and there's, it's all catered and there's just bananas.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded kind of sad, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when you're around that sort of stuff, it just becomes you get to learn that it's very shallow thing. And I feel like it's fun to, party for a couple of days, but you kind of get over it and you sort of see the people around you and you're like, this isn't real. None of these people are real. They don't have real relationships with each other. It's all just super phony. So, yeah, I guess I'm just in a part of my life where that stuff I just don't feel the need for that anymore.
On day 4 of your,
sex party.
You have your Mediterranean,
all sorts.
baby oil naked orgy party.
Yeah.
At what point do you I wouldn't mind just a cup of tea and watch the sunset.
Look, it was kind of as soon as I got there, but in my brain I was like, I want to experience it. So I want to see what it's all about. You know what I mean? So I guess, once I got there, it was fun. It was fun, but I wouldn't say it's my thing,
But it did strike me as, and this particular thing is probably not an isolated case, but it's, in this case it was a couple, but just unimaginable wealth.
Oh, yeah.
Unstoppable.
There's no responsibility.
And there's no consequence for poor decisions.
No.
You can go, I want to have every single episode of Friends edited together, but only the parts where Matt LeBlanc talks. Go! And there's someone to do it.
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean, everyone around them's like a yes man, right? And they just cater to their every need.
what happens to women in those situations? Because it seemed that you became somewhat of a commodity.
Oh, yeah. It's very much like I knew the reason why I was there. But I was kind of like at the time I was like, do it for the plot. I want to see what happens at these parties.
Right.
Like I was almost hired in a way to, you know.
Yeah. But the way that the boundaries were so just brushed away, like
Oh,
swatting
yeah.
a fly away.
I
Like,
think it's just the norm for them and they're just expected to have that behavior all the time.
right.
And I think with these people, like sex just becomes the norm. So they get bored by it easy. It's like we're saying in porn, you know, they're on to the next thing. It's like, what else can we do? So, you know, I would walk in days and there would just be orgies and people everywhere, just doing what you could imagine. Yeah, I performed like shows in front of a lot of A-list people. It was a very weird time of my life.
I'm just like wondering.
That's why I wanted to write the book, because I was like, shit, I've done all this stuff and like I forget about it. You know what I mean? I was like, I need somewhere where it's just like all there.
And you know, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you make, when you take your family on a massive Mediterranean holiday and you're in a villa that's got 17 swimming pools or whatever, you can bet your bottom dollar that 3 days ago there was a crazy fucking orgy happening there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was just a very interesting experience just to meet these people and like see how they act. And I think it's a very sad way to live, you know, when I don't think they have anyone real around them.
When you've been exposed to what looks like boundlessly wealthy people who, as you described and the way I kind of read it, was like are kind of unhappy. As someone who earns a lot of money, did it change your relationship to money and happiness?
Not really. No. Like I've always been the same person. But I wouldn't say I'm on that like billionaire caliber where like it does change people. I don't know, maybe I'm just not there yet. But I've always just been the same sort of person. I just want to have that security and a comfortable life, like, you know, for my kids. So
Like at some point, just having stuff because you think of it
I know.
doesn't make you happy.
But I feel like I used to crave that so much. I was like,
Right.
I want this life so
Because that does describe a
bad.
little bit how early in the book, before you met your accountant, who
Yes.
gave you great advice,
Yes.
I want that, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Been through a few, but we got there in the end.
So how did your relationship to using money to buy things to feel better about yourself change then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, well, that's what I was doing. I was using money before I had the money. Like, that's what I wanted. And so I guess when I started OnlyFans and started getting some dollars, I was just like, I'm just going to spend it. I'm just going to, you know, buy my kids all of this and like do this and go on shopping sprees, whatever. And I didn't actually think about, oh, wait, no, you've actually got to pay tax and you got to do this and you got to be an adult. So, yeah, it wasn't until I found a good accountant and he was like, you need to sort your shit out, basically. And yeah, he put me in a good direction.
I think, and I want to quote you, he said something along the lines of, stop being a dumb sort your shit out.
Pretty much. And he's still like that to this day. Like, he's just so, like, he'll just call me out of the blue and being like, what's going on here? I'm looking at your basket. What did you do? Like, yeah, he's good.
Because
He's like, he gives me advice on like investing and things like that. So
I never knew anything about saving money when I was a younger man.
yeah.
Only recently, actually.
Yeah.
What would you say to people about the importance of that sort of thing?
I think especially for people in sex work, it is so important to save your money because you never know when your health's going to go. You never know when that income's going to stop. So I feel like if you got into this industry and you just wasted all your money and you had nothing to show for it at the end of the day, I feel like you would really regret it. So yeah, I always say like save, put money aside for tax. You never know when that big tax bill is coming. Try to invest in a bit of property or something so you have something to show.
When you talk about being able to buy not only your own home, but homes for your kids, like that's some aspirational stuff there, Kayla. How does it feel to be in a position like that?
It feels good. It feels insane because I never thought that I would, you know, have an income where I could do that. You know what I mean? Like growing up, I just thought I would just have like a regular job and, you know, so it's amazing to have that security now.
I'm not going to lie. As I said, I was really quite confronted by some of the things you wrote about. Sometimes, like, you're so alone and in so much danger.
Yeah.
And yet somehow you're able to figure out and the next day be with your kids again, you write about having like decompressing. And so I'm not going to do the kind of work you do, and not the people in this room, absolutely not. Sometimes I work with people that like, oh, that's a bit much. I'm going to need a moment before I get back to my family, all right? Because I don't want to take that with me and expose them. What do those moments look like for you? What does decompressing look like for you?
Decompressing, I guess just hanging out with my family. I just literally, whenever I'm not in like sex work mode, I'm just with my kids, with my family, you know, going to kids' sporting events. That's my favorite thing to do. Like I coach a netball team. I like, you know, I do a lot of work like in the community, I guess. So that's just my way of decompressing.
I'm
I
guessing
love
by
it.
now the other parents have kind of gotten over what it is you do for a job.
Yeah. They like, we go to like private school, like they don't care. Well, I mean, I'm sure they've talked about me behind my back and stuff, but a lot of people have been really nice about it. So yeah,
I know
and they've
about-
been very respectful, and you know, obviously there's going to be people that are judgmental, but there's nothing you can do about that, you know.
I'm sure when people first found out that you had a family, part of that is concern for wanting to be sure that you are looking after your kids,
Yes.
and that you are able to help them handle conversations that they may not have a choice in starting. Like, for example, when someone from school says, oh, your mum, blah.
Yeah.
What would you want those people to know about your kids?
I guess just like having open communication with your kids, I think is very important, to teach them not to be judgmental, and like it's just a job at the end of the day. It's like actors in movies, they do full sex scenes and they don't get their career taken away from them because of it. You know, it's just like porn is entertainment as well, just as much as people in movies doing sex scenes are. So I feel like the more we just normalize it, the weirder it, you know, won't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't expect there to be so much writing about cleaning products or stray liquids. They're like, but it all makes for it's a messier job than
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it
not-
is.
and
You
not
have
just the obvious.
You really have to look after yourself.
Yeah.
Like I make sure, you know, at least once a month, even though everything is protected, like I always make sure like I get tested and, you know, just do the bare minimum, because
Yeah.
you just, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have your health to do this kind of work. So you got to look after yourself.
How do you know when you might need a little more decompressing, or it might be one of those days when I'm not going to, I know I booked some people today, but I'm not going to see them. What are the warning signs for you that today's not a great day to keep just forging ahead?
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm a very moody person. So like if I'm having a bad day, like I can't see clients because I'll just be the worst person in the world. Like I'm just like, nah. So I mean, that's what I love about this job, is it gives me the freedom to be able to set my own hours. And there are days where I'm like, it's very draining seeing like a lot of different people and hearing their stories and things like that. So I really have to make sure that I set time aside just to do nothing, because yeah, otherwise my mental health is not good.
Are you good at doing nothing?
Yeah, I am. I'll walk the dog, or like, you know, I'll go out and like go to the beach, things like that. I love traveling. So, you know, we just got back from Japan, and yeah, it was just, that's my time to like decompress.
And get ready to get back in the game.
Yeah, well, that's just how my brain works, because sometimes I have zero motivation and I'm like, I don't want to see anyone. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'll get all this motivation and I'll book in a bunch of people and I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean?
So I worked on this show called The Bachelor for a long time, which was one bloke dating 20-something women, or one woman dating 20-something men.
Yeah.
And whether it be the women in that situation or the men in that situation, that big group, for the most part, they'd always been the hottest person in the room, right?
Mhm.
Now suddenly they're in a room where everybody has always been the hottest person in the room. So the only thing that sets them apart is what kind of person they are.
Personality. Mhm.
You write about some people who I'd imagine are breathtakingly hot.
Yeah.
When hot is like, I can have hot anytime.
Do you mean like in a relationship, or?
As in like, what do you find attractive in a person that?
Definitely personality over anything. Like if you can make me laugh, or like, you know, this kind of work sometimes can be it can be shallow in a way. And so you just crave more of that connection, I guess.
Yeah.
When you're constantly getting like validation online, sometimes you just don't want any part of it. And you're like, no, I actually want something real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what does real look like?
I guess just having the same interests, and like me and the kid's dad were very close, and even though we're not together, like if there's a new movie out, we'll go see it together, and you know, we're life partners in a way. So I guess those sort of down times are what matters most to me these days. Yeah.
Is there any space in your life for like an emotionally intimate relationship?
I've definitely had like my flings, but I feel like just where I am right now, like I put work first. And I feel like if I was to get into a relationship with someone, then you got to think about someone else and another person's needs. And yeah, I'm just putting work and my kids before that. I just have no interest. I feel like being in the sex industry, it does really open your eyes to what some people are like deep down. Because I guess a lot of people, when you meet them, you just see like the tip of the iceberg, whereas sex workers, we sort of see like the depths of it. So I feel like unfortunately that sort of burned me a bit from like seeing people. Yeah. And I don't know, like I talk to my sex work friends as well, and they're the same. They're like, I don't think I could get in a relationship with anyone, just because you know what people are like. You know what I mean? Like you see the worst of society sometimes.
When I think about the parts that really kind of disturbed me the most, which was nothing to do with what the work you do, is the more to do with the commentary and the way that people would talk to you, particularly commenting on surgery or things like this. Oh, fuck me, that's like the post-op in Turkey, my God. That's the thing that really bothered me, I think, the most, is learning about these men. Like, as my wife says, oh, yeah, what are you surprised for? Men are pigs. I'm like, yeah. I don't want to say the hashtag, but I think there's a case to be made for maybe a bit more advocacy work about just, can we see each other as human? Because it's fairly dehumanizing the way you're treated in some ways.
Yeah, sometimes. Like I know my boundaries now. So if anything, you know, if there's anything I'm not comfortable with, you know, I won't do it.
Yeah, but there's someone a few clicks away that might.
Yeah, I've seen it all. I've seen it all.
We need to talk more about that, I think, in our community. We need to talk more about, like, we should, A, be less surprised that DV rates are where they are. Yeah. And B, be a bit more prepared to have the conversation about what's actually going on in the search histories.
Yeah. Well, you just don't know, do you? You know, you don't see that meeting someone, so.
It comes down to just humanising people, that even someone such as yourself, a mother with children, working to put food on the table in one of the 2 or 3 houses that you've been able to buy because you work so hard, is a human just like them.
Yeah, definitely.
There's more people like you being who you are in public, and I'm a human being, I'm not a thing.
Yeah. I think it's just, having more conversations, you know, talking about it, sort of bringing down that stigma a little bit. And it's like, you know, see that sex workers are real people.
We need to be, I think a little bit. I think we could afford to bring the stigma down a lot, possibly.
I mean, yeah, we just got to go slowly, you know. I mean, we've come so far, but yeah, there's still a long way to go.
I've never been more grateful to be so goddamn vanilla. It sounds like so logistically difficult.
Like some people, like I think about it, I'm like, that must be tiring for you. It must be stressful to like keep this up.
The amount of fandangery I'm feeling a bit horny, but that's going to involve a trip to a grocery store, the saddlery. I'm going to have to sweep past Bunnings because I need a new mop. Now I've got to vet 4 different people and try to coordinate our schedule so we can, like, goodness me. That's not like a one and done and I'm back to watch the rest of my show.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I'm very grateful. I'll be just fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks for writing this. Thanks so much for taking the time to write it. I think the only book I read in this would be when I read the Jenna Jameson book.
Oh, yes.
I think much more emotionally generous in this book.
Okay.
Than I found her book to be. Because you talk about your family, but you're talking about, you know, the things you've achieved. And already it's a happier ending.
Yes. Well, thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks for making it happen. Thanks for coming here today.
It's been great.
I'm glad.
I'm glad we've had this conversation.
As am I.